So the other day I got a very good question. Not the first time I got this question, but I think it's a very good question. I want to sort of break it down and discuss it. It was from an artist asking me if I use a royalty-free sample or a drum or a chord progression from whatever says that it's royalty-free, am I good to go? Am I not going to get in trouble when it comes to using something that I don't have a license for down the line? Is Spotify going to shut me down, or am I going to get a letter months down the line, especially if I blow up the song, that I have to take it down from whoever owns the chord progression or whatever the case may be? So let's kind of dive deeper into royalty free. I'm going to tell you the definition as I understand it, but you may always want to consult with a lawyer on matters like these, but I'm going to tell you how I understand it, some different things to consider for sure, so that way you can be as safe as possible. And let's just go ahead and into it. What's going on, guys? My name is Matei. Another day from Music Biz Daily. If you wait till the end of the video, as always, I'll tell you what me and my team have going on this month and next month, and how we can potentially help you to get your career to the next level. But let me, for now, stick with this topic of what does it mean when you're using royalty-free samples? Are you, basically avoiding all potential liabilities of getting sued by somebody that owned the sample that you used and you didn't know, or are you good to go? How does it all work? So when, instrument packs or chord progression packs or drum loops and things like that say royalty free, you have to scrutinize it. Who's it coming from? Put it this way, and I just know this from a business standpoint, like if Pro Tools or Avid comes up with a instrument pack that's royalty free that you could use in your instrumentals, somebody like Avid is probably going to do their due diligence, cross all their T's and dot all their I's to make sure that whatever sound they're providing to the producers or artists to make the instrumentals from their packs is truly royalty free. Same thing will go for things like Splice. Let's say you get a plugin from Native Instruments or the machine, the MPC from Native Instruments, and that comes with royalty free samples. I would assume that a company as large as Native Instruments wants to avoid all lawsuits as possible. So they're going to avoid that liability. They're going to do their due diligence. Motion Array, which is a platform you can pay for monthly, where you can get not only free sounds and production, but you can also get free video or stock video, as you call it. iStock Photo is for video and pictures, but the reason I'm bringing iStock Photo up, because it's not just royalty free for whatever use. Sometimes it could be royalty free just for advertising a product, meaning you cannot make money from it. You could use it for a commercial for your brand. Yes, you could argue that that commercial gets you customers, you make money from it, but what is meant by that is that you can't put that commercial in the DVD, for example, and sell copies of it for sale, right? So it could be royalty free as long as it's used for promotional use only, and you wouldn't know that until you go to this platform and you either download a sound or a video, and then you get a contract with it, or you get some terms and conditions from these reputable websites, right? So that's one side, is you got these big companies and $1 million websites, which are companies as well that do their due diligence, and when they say it's royalty free, I feel a lot safer as a producer, or you get too as an artist, right? Now, when you get a sample pack from some famous producer or up and coming producer, and they put royalty free and all of this, the question you got to ask yourself, is it really royalty free? Do they have the resources as a producer or a company to really do the due diligence, have staff of lawyers on board to really check everything, check the copyright.gov office, check I don't know, wherever these databases are, like Harry Fox agency, check all that? Is that, how much time does it take? So when it's coming from a one-man entity or a small business instead of a large enterprise, you always got to question, is it royalty free? Because obviously for marketing purposes, to draw in customers, you don't want to say, I don't know if it's royalty free, consult with your lawyer when you buy this pack, right? That's probably going to drive down conversions. They're going to make less sales if they're actually honest about the fact that they may not know that the 1,000 different samples they included are truly royalty free. What I've heard happens a lot as well, and this is unfortunate, and this is just the way the music industry is, I've heard that producers even steal other producers' beats off of YouTube. They package it into their own package. They do beautiful graphic design around it, all of that, and they'll sell like 20 beats for I don't know, $30, and they don't even own the beat. Sometimes they even have sound techs from other producers. So, you know, who's to say that if you get 1,000 drum loops or chord progressions and things like that from a producer that, you know, wants to do things by the book, they, you know, want to make sure they don't get sued. But I mean, can something slip through? It could. But also they may do the due diligence properly, and it's not. So all I'm saying is when you're dealing with a small company compared to a very large company, the small company, you may have to do due diligence, you may have to consult with a lawyer, or let me tell you about some tools that you could use, especially when it comes to chord progressions, right? Drum packs, it's almost impossible. Like, how can you tell if a snare hit, or even like a, you know, like what's it called, like the snare outro, like a, you know, when you have like a 3-second or a 2-bar, kind of like an outro, intro, like drum loop. Could you detect that? It's very difficult. Who's to say that, you know what I'm saying, like Travis Barker play that on a particular drum set versus somebody in their bedroom played it. So drums are very difficult, but chord progressions could be easily discovered. So if you have like a 4-bar or like an 8-bar or a 16-bar chord progression that is set as royalty free, like a piano, chord line, guitar, it could be really anything. One way you could do this is when you're playing it, Shazam that chord progression. If something pops up that, you know, Shazam discovered that chord progression on another song and the song pops up, now you have to do some extra due diligence and figure out, is it royalty free? Has that person purchased that? Like, do they own the rights to that chord progression? You know what I'm saying? Another tool you could use is the YouTube ID tool. Basically, upload your instrumental once it's done, or upload the chord progression itself and do both just to double check if you really want to know. Upload it to YouTube, publish it publicly, let that video sit for a couple days. Usually Content ID these days, it'll recognize it as you're uploading it or within an hour of the upload, but leave it for a couple days. Make sure you don't get a copyright infringement notice on it. And if you do, now you know you have to do some more due diligence or consult with a lawyer to see what you got to do. Sometimes people also incorrectly register their copyrights. Like, this happens all the time. Somebody leases a beat and then they have a mastered song with it and they go and register it and all of that, and like, again, consult with a lawyer on this, but it may come up under Shazam or YouTube Content ID, but that doesn't mean that you don't have a license to use that instrumental, because remember, a master registration, that includes the vocals and the instrumental and then the way the song came out in the master version together. That does not mean that if you have the proper license from the producer that you can use the instrumental for your own vocals, but it may be picked up by Shazam by somebody else or YouTube ID. In that case, you got to submit the proper paperwork to YouTube, Spotify potentially, definitely YouTube though if you get that copyright infringement. These days even Facebook is catching on to it. They got a system on their own. So as long as you have the right paperwork and the right license, you should be good to go. You may have to consult with a lawyer, right? Another tool that I don't know if it's out yet, but I made a video probably almost a year ago now. Spotify is supposed to put out a tool that's going to exist through Spotify for Artists, where as you are producing a song in the beginning stages, you know, make a couple chord progressions, whatever, you can run that through the Spotify tool. It'll check it against the entire Spotify database and maybe some external databases of music that they might get access to, maybe the Pandora Genome projects, things like that. And it'll tell you, it'll like score your instrumental and give you a score as to, are you pushing the envelope to being potentially not sued, but I mean, that could always happen. But are you potentially infringing on somebody else's copyrights with what you're doing? Or is your score very low to say that you're pretty much good to go? And I think it's going to have to be done with a score, because at the end of the day, if you look at it mathematically, there's only so much number of chords in existence on this planet. There's a finite number. And there's so much music coming out that it's nearly impossible that everything has not been used and reused and overused, whatever, but it all matters at what BPMs it's used, how it was used, what instrument it was on, were the lyrics identical to another song. Clearly, a lot of the mega hits that are out there generally use like 4 to 5 same chord progressions. If you don't believe me, YouTube it. There's so many videos of showing you how the same 4 chords have created countless and hundreds of, you know, top Billboard charting hits over the last 50 years, but they're all different in their own ways and they're not necessarily infringing on each other's copyrights. But as it continues, will it? I don't know how this is going to evolve. It's a very interesting kind of topic. So to answer the question that I got asked from one of my clients, is that, again, if it's a large company, you're much safer if it's royalty free. If it's a small company, you gotta do due diligence or use some of these tools that I told you about, and I'm gonna leave you with that. You know, it's something that you should consider. It's intellectual property. It's something you can make money from forever. So especially if you're at the higher levels of your career and you're actually making money from this, from your music, and you're releasing songs once a month, you may want to make sure that all your shit is properly registered, licensed, or is royalty free, or you know this stuff. And obviously as an artist, you may not have the resources to do it. So make sure you have the proper lawyer or staff or manager or access to these tools to always figure that out. I'm gonna leave you with that. If you guys wanna know how me and my team can help you, make sure you follow me on Instagram. Make sure you hit the link in the bio and check out our NDR's Accelerator. We talk about topics like these all the time. We got resources in there that you can reach out to. Matter of fact, awesome lawyer by the name of Alonzo Alston came through almost a month ago now, did a class on a lot of legal aspects, especially when it comes to leasing beats, producers and artists, and how they should, you know, collaborate together legally speaking to get the song to the next level, things like that. That's already a class that's recorded in the Accelerator. So make sure you become a member if you want to get your career to the next level. What else? August 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, I'll be in Atlanta. August 11th, I'll be back in New York for another 2-hour live seminar, and this one's going to be exciting because I'm going to be specifically talking about solid strategies to grow your Spotify and Apple Music without ever touching any third-party playlist. I have an account coming in August as well to do a class on how to properly track your finances, whether you're an artist, producer, studio owner, audio engineer, label owner, and whatever the case may be. And also, if you're watching me on YouTube, I appreciate you guys. Make sure you continue to support my channel. Give me some feedback on the videos, like it, dislike it, leave a comment. Let me also know if you would like me to do a video on another topic. You can also do that on Instagram, but if you ask me to do a video on another topic, make sure you hit that notification button. Subscribe to my channel as well. Do the notification button on Instagram as well, so that way if I do a video on the topic that you requested, you will be notified. I'm gonna leave you with that. As always, see you guys tomorrow for another day of Music Biz Daily. Peace.